Welcome back to Hangar Garage, and what you see in front of you is a $100 2003 Toyota Sienna, which I will be attempting to drive 800 miles to the Bonneville Salt Flats, where they are holding the Speed Week 2023 event in just a few days, and I'm going to see if I can make it there. And yes, I did pay just $100 for this. It came with not all of its paint, but all of the aero lights, and all of the mold. I have cleaned the mold, and I have put a rubber ducky named Jeff on the hood so it distracts you from the terrible, terrible paint. As you might imagine, it did have a few mechanical ailments as well. I have fixed some of them, but not all of them, and I do not plan to. And I have also turned it into somewhat of a very ghetto camper van. I have flipped the passenger seat around so you can access the table, or well, you could have if I hadn't put it on that side. And this is a little folding mat I bought off of Amazon. It folds up like so, and I've made very trashy curtains and a little storage unit here with a chest that I bought at a garage sale when I was like 12. And I put a bike rack on here, and you may notice this is not a perfect fit. It is just drilled in through the trunk, and I slathered a bunch of RTV in there so water would hopefully not enter. Then I put an awning, a roof box, and a shower cube. But enough about the ugly van, now on to the destination. Speed Week 2023 is an awesome thing where a bunch of racers come together and go real fast on the salt flats of Utah, and I've always wanted to go. I was going to go last year, but it flooded, so now is my chance. And you may be wondering, why a crappy minivan? Why not something fast? Why not something fast that's probably going to blow up? Or why not this 4x4 turbo diesel van that I imported specifically for trips like this? Well, because that's exactly what they'd be expecting me to do. Now, for what I'm bringing with me on the trip, a bicycle for when I break down, a hat, a jacquerie, propane stove, table, chair, smaller chairs / tables, and for protection from the sun, I have sunscreen. For protection from nature, I have a fly swatter, bug spray, and a 50 caliber Desert Eagle, and Jeff, and water, and a cooler, jump box, fire extinguisher, spare tools, straps, stuff like that. But now I'm going to load up and I will head out in the morning, and I want to see how long this guy is going to last at 70 miles an hour. It's bright and early, 4:45 a.m. and by bright, I mean not very bright yet, but I'm hoping to catch the sunrise at Chinook Pass, which is a little over an hour away, so I'm going to get to it. Made it to the top of Chinook Pass, and sunrise should be right about now. It's 6:01 a.m. and I can't really see anything. I made it just a little bit up the trail, but now it's raining and really windy, so I will retreat to the safety of my crappy minivan. Hold off along 410 here to see if anything comes over that hill in the form of a sunrise. I know enough about the beautiful scenery and mountains and all that. What about the crappy minivan? How is it doing? And it's doing just fine so far. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but another problem this van had was the transmission. Its shifting is kind of sporadic, but it's still making it. Sometimes you gotta let off the throttle, let it shift. Seems like we're not gonna get much of a sunrise, so I'm going to leave. Status update. I have made it to the Walmart in Hermiston, Oregon. Now on to the bad news. I stopped here originally to get some Freon to top up my AC because we can no longer buy that ourselves in Washington. I went to start it up and put the AC on, and the belt just started squealing. So I thought, okay, I'll just tighten the belt. That must be it. And I went to find my tool set, and I couldn't find it. I didn't bring my tool set with me. So I went back into Walmart. I went and bought some tools, came back out, tightened the belt, and it's still bogging down the engine and squealing. So the AC compressor overnight decided to seize. It worked yesterday, and to make it even better, I dropped my wrench into the engine bay, and I can't reach it. So that's what this is for. So I did thoroughly consider backtracking 5 hours so I could get a different car that has AC, but I think I'm gonna tough it out and it's just gonna suck. But here we go. Just stopped in Nampa, Idaho for some pancakes. Now I'm back on the road heading east. I'm not exactly sure what the air temperature is outside, but if I had to make a guess based on the air coming through these vents, I would say about 182. I am now out cruising through the middle of nowhere on some BLM land by a little reservoir over there. I'm just north of the Nevada border, south of Twin Falls, Idaho. I'm trying to find a good spot to set up camp for the night. This spot looks pretty promising. Oh, that is cool. This will do nicely. I'm going to get everything set up. And there we have it. Sun is setting, dinner is cooking. It is rice with a side of more rice. Dinner is done and now the weather has rolled in, unfortunately, so I'm now going to once again take shelter in my crappy minivan. Status update. Surprise one, it is in the middle of the night and there is lightning coming from both directions. I've checked the weather radar. Oh yeah, look at that. I've checked the weather radar and I'm right in the middle of a huge storm, so I am getting out of the canyon because I don't want to get washed away and it was all sand. Getting out of the canyon put me on top of a hill and then I would get electrocuted because I'm the only metal thing around. So I'm going to go down the road to a casino parking lot and camp like a real van lifer next to semi-trucks and RVs. Hopefully I don't get fried on the way. Typical. As soon as I pull into the parking lot, the rain stops. I don't see any lightning anymore. But if it starts back up again, I feel safer because there's a lot of taller metal objects around me that can take the zap before me, hopefully. So I will now call it a night. Again. It is 7 a.m. Mountain Time, still in the parking lot of that casino, and somehow overnight, most of my air lights seem to have magically disappeared, which is awesome. And I really don't know why, because those air lights have been on since the day I bought this thing. But anyways, time to keep heading south. I think I'm about 2 hours out from the Salt Flats. The TPMS light came back, that's one of them. And there, they're all back. ABS light, TPMS light, check engine light, and the brake light. And here I am. I made it to Wendover, Utah at 9:30 a.m. So just half an hour after the gates open to go watch the land speed record cars. But if you may notice, the sun is not where it should be at 9:30, and that's because it's 12:30. As I was getting gas in Wendover, I noticed quite the strong smell of coolant, and I immediately assumed that it was the guy next to me because he had an even uglier van than I do. And then I got back on the road and still smelled coolant, and he wasn't anywhere near me, so I thought, okay, I'll pull over at the Maverick station right before the highway and see what's what. And I pulled over and I could just hear coolant bubbling and there was steam coming out everywhere. So I thought. So I let it cool down for a while and then filled it up. It took about a gallon of water and I tested the oil and the coolant and everything. Nothing's mixing. I kind of thought maybe the head gasket blew on that last stretch of highway because I was cruising along at about 85. Which is really comfortable in this thing, but I thought maybe that was too much for it. So I put coolant in it, bled the system, there was a lot of bubbles in there. Then I let it warm up to temp and the fans weren't turning on. So I figured maybe that was it. Maybe it overheated just as I was waiting in line at the gas station. So I quickly made my way to the CarQuest auto parts store in Wendover and I bought some wiring supplies. And now I'm going to wire up the fan to hook up to a switch and a fuse so I can hopefully not blow up. And I'm still hoping that that was the actual problem and it's not something deeper, but I'll find out. And here's what I have rigged up. Hopefully it lasts. But this is a switch. You turn that, and you got a fan. And it is even fused, so it's less likely to burn down my huge investment. All right, final couple miles. we have made it to the Salt Flats. The temps are staying about 192. I have the heater going full blast and then also the fan on. I'm not really sure what is going on, but there's like a ringing that has developed recently, and it sounds almost like a security system of some sort. It seems like it's coming through the speakers, but turning the radio off doesn't stop it, but revving the car does. It's very weird, but I'm really hoping that I don't overheat right here, because this would be quite the walk back to Wendover. It is now 1:20 p.m. and the gates opened up at 9 a.m., so that means I'm only an entire day late. Yeah, it started yesterday, but no matter, I'm here now. This is such a crazy experience to drive on. It's like a slushy, and I have driven on the Salt Flats before, never in a minivan and never in one that could overheat at any moment, and also never when it was wet. So this is a very new experience for me. Oh, there it is. I don't know what that is, but it is driving me crazy. I rode my bike around the pits, I looked at some of the cars, and I talked to one of the guys who said racing actually doesn't even start today. This is just the day they open up the pits. So I really have nothing to do. But he also said that with all the water that's on here, racing might not even happen tomorrow, so that could be a big bummer if I made it all the way here to not see anything cool. But I will go find a cool camp spot for the night and then come back tomorrow. Found a cool spot to set up camp here just by the mountains, away from as many human beings as possible. I'm gonna settle in for a pretty nice evening. I've got a nice breeze, I've got beautiful scenery, I've got rice again because I forgot to go buy any food, and good music and good beer. Not bad. And thus concludes the Will It Make to Bonneville portion of today's programming. Next up, random clips from Speed Week.
Okay, they're pushing out now. Just departed the push truck. Starting to accelerate. Past the officials that were out there checking things out. Past the half mile. Heading for the first measured mile here coming up. Into it now. It's going some. Leaving up a nice rooster tail of salt. Disappearing into the horizon. Now we don't see it. Delicious pulled pork sandwich. Excellent sandwich. It is a double A. This is too much. Double A classic low gas altered. It is a 1927 Ford with a 588 cubic inch big block.
7.5 Hunter Sills record being